To be a Canaanite or to be an Israelite? What do we know? Archaeological and historical evidence suggests that the early Israelites shared many cultural and linguistic traits with the Canaanites. However, they eventually developed a distinct identity with their own religious beliefs and practices. A family tomb dating to around 750 to 650 BCE was found near the biblical settlement of Kiriath-Yearim, containing the skeletal remains of at least 10 individuals. Geneticists and archaeologists collaborated to extract DNA from these ancient individuals, focusing on the Y chromosome J2 coming from the Caucasus or Eastern Anatolia and mitochondrial DNA T1A and H87. The study of mitochondrial DNA reveals two different haplogroups in the individuals, with potential ancestry from Anatolia and the Arabian Peninsula. The individuals in the tomb included 6 adults, 3 men and 3 women, and 4 children, consistent with the high child mortality rates in ancient times. The tombs of pottery suggest it belonged to the elite of Kiriath-Yearim, and its cultural identity likely identifies it as ancient Hebrew. The genetic data from the 2 sampled individuals may suggest a connection between the ancient Israelites and the Canaanites, potentially supporting the idea that the Hebrews descended from the Canaanites. This is the HRAS, haplogroup J2 heat map. We see from left to right, we have America. It shows a very high percentage in the Caribbean along South America. Then in Europe, we see it coming really high around the Balkans, Italy, so Eastern Europe, Southern Europe. Then we see it in the Caucasus. We also see it in the Arabian Peninsula all the way to India. All right, this is the S&P tracker. So it's looking like a Iranian or Lesser Caucasus origin for the paternal haplogroup J2, and that would be in the Paleolithic. All right, this is the mtDNA T1A heat map. We see it peaks its highest in Brazil, so in South America. Then we also see it in Europe, France, Spain, Portugal, and then a little bit in North Africa, then the Balkans, Turkey, very much so in the Levant, and also the Caucasus. All right, so this is the S&P tracker for T1A. It looks like its origin is modern day Syria, so a northern Levantine origin for mtDNA T1A, and that would be in the Paleolithic. All right, so this H87, it's very rare, but from what I found, it peaks its highest in the Amazigh, so in North Africa, Algeria. There's some hot spots in Europe, but it's very rare. It also has a little bit of hot spots in the Caucasus. So this one is actually later than the previous two. So it's more looking like a Mesolithic origin for mtDNA H87. And it was in Europe. Go figure. How to tell a Canaanite from an Israelite? by William G. Dever. Who were the early Israelites and where did they come from? Is a book by William G. Dever, a prominent archaeologist who has written extensively about the ancient Near East and the history of Israel. In this book, he discusses the distinction between Canaanites and Israelites in the context of archaeology and historical research. In his work, Dever does not provide a simple checklist to distinguish Canaanites from Israelites. Instead, he engages in a detailed analysis of archaeological and historical evidence to understand the origins and development of the Israelite culture. He argues that there was a gradual emergence of an Israelite identity within the broader Canaanite context, rather than a clear-cut division between the two groups. Dever's approach involves examining archaeological sites, inscriptions, pottery, and other material culture, as well as textual sources, to piece together the complex history of the region. He contends that it is challenging to make a clear distinction between Canaanites and Israelites because the Israelites likely emerged from the indigenous Canaanite population, and the process of differentiation was not instantaneous. For a comprehensive understanding of Dever's views on this topic, it's recommended to read his book, Who Were the Early Israelites and Where Did They Come From?, as it provides a thorough exploration of the subject that the evidence supporting his perspective. This is Dr. Joel S. Baden from Yale Divinity School. I got this clip from Myth Vision podcast, video titled Canaanites Were Israelites and There Was No Exodus. Dr. Joel Baden. Let's see what Dr. Baden has to say on this subject.
It was DNA that disproved the Book of Mormon's claim the American Indians were descended from the Middle East.
My understanding is that the DNA tends to show that there is a reasonably close relationship between Canaanites and Israelites, which isn't surprising, right? Canaanites and Israelites were the same people, basically. They just lived in slightly different parts of the country, right? So in a sense, that goes against the biblical story where Israel, like Abraham, comes from outside and comes in, and goes more toward the scholarly story where like Israel is just like people who moved away from Canaan into a different part of the place. So I think that there is genetic evidence linking present day Jews and ancient Canaanites in a way that is logical to me. I don't think it's more. I don't think there's more than that beyond that in terms of like other ancient Near Eastern peoples. I just don't know that anyone's done those studies or why they'd care to.
Yeah.
In the article, The Genomic History of the Bronze Age Southern Levant, the term Canaanites and the genetic coherence or homogeneity of the individuals examined from various archaeological sites in present-day Lebanon, Israel, and Jordan. Loose definition of Canaanites. The term Canaanites is not precisely defined and generally refers to a collection of groups. During the Bronze Age, these groups were organized into a city-state system. This lack of a precise definition means that the term can encompass a range of different groups and cultures. Genetic coherence. The passage suggests that despite the loose definition of the term Canaanites, the individuals studied from various archaeological sites share a level of genetic homogeneity. In other words, they are genetically more like each other rather than other contemporary and neighboring populations. Geographic span. The individuals examined in this study come from 9 different sites located in what is now Lebanon, Israel, and Jordan. These sites likely represent a range of Canaanite settlements in the ancient region. Homogeneity and shared ancestry. The genetic analysis indicates that, except for individuals from Sudan and to a lesser extent the Bekaa region, the Canaanite individuals studied are genetically similar to each other. This suggests that the category of Canaanites, which is based on archaeological and historical evidence, correlates with a shared genetic ancestry among these populations. In summary, the passage suggests that despite the imprecise definition of the term Canaanites, genetic analysis reveals a degree of homogeneity among the individuals from various Canaanite sites, indicating shared ancestry within the Canaanite population. This finding provides support for the archaeological and historical concept of the Canaanites as a distinct group or culture in the ancient Near East. Ancient mitochondrial DNA analysis of an Iron II burial cave on the slope of Tel Kiriath-Yearim. All right, big shout out to Brother Garfield Podcast and 93 TV for providing this source. Appreciate it, bro. Excavation and discovery. In December 2018, looters were spotted at an Iron II rock-cut burial cave near Abu Ghosh, leading to a salvage excavation by the Israel Antiquities Authority. The cave had been severely damaged due to modern construction activities. The remaining part of the cave was a small area measuring 1.5 times 3.3 meters. Finds: the cave contained the remains of at least 10 individuals, and 2 of these individuals were analyzed using ancient DNA methods. The pottery assemblage in the cave included approximately 150 vessels, mainly consisting of bowls, jugs, juglets, and lamps. Most of the pottery was made from reddish brown clay with white grits. Cave use and dating. The excavation suggests that the cave was in use during the Iron II-B and early Iron II-C period around 750 to 650 BCE. The excavation indicates that the cave originally contained a larger number of objects in ceramic vessels, but it had been damaged and looted. Skeletal remains. A large number of bones were found on the cave floor, and a minimum of 10 individuals were identified. These individuals included both adults and children, with age and sex determinations made based on skeletal analysis. DNA analysis. 2 right petrous bones from different individuals were subjected to ancient DNA analysis. The ntDNA haplogroups are these individuals were determined, and they were found to be T1A on 9 and H87. These haplogroups were compared with other ancient and modern DNA samples, and the analysis suggested a potential Mediterranean or Near Eastern origin for these individuals. Genomic data. The report mentions that the focus of the analysis was on matrilineal markers, mtDNA haplogroups, and that the analysis of whole genome data from these individuals will be the subject of a separate publication. The analysis of the pottery and skeletal remains in the cave, as well as the genetic analysis of the individuals, provides a valuable insights into the history and usage of the burial cave during the Iron II period in the region of Kiriath-Yearim. In the 2021 excavations at Kiriath-Yearim, dating of the summit compound, the authors propose that the summit compound at Kiriath-Yearim dates to the early Iron IIb, specifically the first half of the 8th century BCE. They base this dating on various pieces of evidence, including pottery findings and OSL, optically stimulated luminescence results. Territorial association. The authors argue that the construction of the summit compound is likely associated with the kingdom of Israel, as Judah did not have the resources for such a monumental building project during this period. They also suggest that the compound was strategically located to control Judah and its capital, Jerusalem. Geographical significance. The location of the summit compound is highlighted for its dominating position, overlooking significant areas to the west, south, and east. It also guarded a major ancient road to Jerusalem. Theoretical connection to the Ark Covenant narrative. The authors propose a connection between the construction of the summit compound and the biblical Ark narrative found in 1 Samuel chapter 4, verses 1 through chapter 7, verses 1. They suggest that this narrative may have been created to provide a religious justification for the sanctuary of the Ark at Kiriath-Yearim. Challenges in excavation. The authors acknowledge that the presence of a modern convent at the site makes excavation in the summit compound area impossible. They also note that the summit may not yield much information due to its flat nature and potential bedrock exposure. All right, thanks to Khazaria.com. It is noted that Israel Finkelstein, in the next volume of the book series, New Studies in the Archaeology of Jerusalem, on pages 49 to 67. Israel Finkelstein will go more in depth of these samples found in the archaeological excavation of Kiriath-Yearim. All right, it was noted in First Archaeologists Extract DNA of Ancient Israelites by Ariel David in the Haaretz. That was my last video. Dr. David Reich said that there would be publication on this findings, on these ancient DNA findings. So I'm assuming ancient autosomal will go along with this. Another thing is, I'm hoping, it says it on the article that I read, ancient mitochondrial DNA analysis of an Iron II burial cave on the slope of Tel Kiriath-Yearim, that the samples will be published on David Reich's lab website. Now that's important because what I do on Biblical DNA YouTube channel is I take those samples and I use them on admix tools too. Hopefully in the future, they will get G25 coordinates and I will be able to show the admixture and the distance on Vahadual. Alright, with that being said, I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. It's been much different than I've made my other previous videos, but hey, like this content, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you really enjoyed it, please share it on your video, on your broadcast, your live broadcast, or just in general. Just give me credit. And this has been Biblical DNA. I'm out.